Good morning today, 3rd August 2024. We are going to discuss editorials of The Hindu. From The Hindu, there are not much important articles today. Anyhow, we'll discuss two articles. And today we'll start new initiative. All important constitutional amendment we'll discuss at the end. So it may take some time. More time may be needed. So we'll discuss anyhow. Today's quote: the economy is a wholly owned subsidiary of the environment and the other, not the other way around. See, economy is within the environment. Environment is very broad subject. Economy is a part. But today what is happening? Economy has become big part and environment has been subsided. So one best example is the recent flood in Kerala and in Wayanad region. Almost 400 more people have been died due to landslides, and it has been claimed that more people might have been there, and search and rescue operation still is happening. So we need to conserve the environment. We need to safeguard our environment from all these things. It was told by Gaylord Nelson. He's a famous environmental conservationist from United States of America. So there is one article, the five guidelines to dragon, elephant, and tango, basically India-China relations. 17th ambassadors to India from China. He gave certain principles. We want to evolve in every area. India, China, there is no differences. We need to evolve in certain direction with mutuals. He gave guidelines of mutuals. First thing is about mutual respect. We need to respect each other, sovereignty, integrity, and we need to understand each other. The trust should be there between both the countries. We need to accommodate our views and mutual accomplishment. These are more or less like Panchashil principle. So I'm not going much discussion into these things. The article, like self-explanatory, what India must do, what China must do in order to enhance future relations. Because India is growing under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership, and even China is going under Xi Jinping relationship. So both countries, there is ample opportunity to enhance their relations, though there are certain differences are there. So those things are being discussed. However, we'll discuss a few things about India-China relationship. At present, bilateral trade between both countries happens at around 135 billion. There is a trade deficit. Recently, we discussed even 100 billion trade deficit is there with China because we are importing many of the things. Even we discussed about Chinese technicians giving them visa. India is very concerned because of the security reason and all. There are companies such as Adani, those who are installing solar project, they need a technical enterprise, technicalities. For those technicalities, all the machines are imported from China. For getting the same productivity, Chinese technicians are required. They need to train our lower manpower, lower grade, lower skilled manpower. It will help them to manage the things. So anyhow, FDI inflow 0.43 shares FDI equity happened between 2000 to 2021. Exports include cotton, ores, slag, ash, petrochemical, organic chemicals, and plastic. Our imports include electronic machinery and equipment, telecommunication equipment, organic chemicals, fertilizers, pharmaceuticals, even electronics. It becomes many other items. We have defense and military partnership hand in hand. Sino-Indian joint exercise we are conducting, even border management. We have constituted a working mechanism for consultation and coordination of India-China border affairs, annual border meeting to help address the issues and avoid conflicts in the border areas, agreement on the maintenance of peace and tranquility along the line of actual control. LOC is Pakistan and our border. LAC is line of actual countries we have with China. We have almost some 3,200 kilometer land border with China. And connectivity, Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar, that project is going on. Chindu, Kolkata logistic project is there. Even water, India, China water sharing agreement on Brahmaputra River. Brahmaputra River, they are constructing huge dam. So more than the size of the Three Gorges Dam, which is the world largest dam. Even so that will basically affect our water sharing agreement between the both countries. Even energy also, we have memorandum of understanding on cooperation in the field of energy. Political and diplomatic relations, we are part of United Nations, World Trade Organization, World Health Organization, there is World Health Assembly, COVID, there was a lot of controversy about China, but it has not been proved. But International Monetary Fund, World Bank, ASEAN plus three we are part, Shanghai SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, even BRICS also, China is part of the thing. In science and technology, India-China Science and Technology Cooperation Agreement is there in 2006. In China, India Research Center for Earth Sciences, it was in 2012. So in cultural relations, 2012 declared as a year of China in India, and 2013 a year of India in China. It has been declared. Even there are conflicts are there. Obviously, border thing. Aksai Chin area, it is our area. It has been occupied illegally by China. Even Arunachal Pradesh, they tells it is their area. Even Arunachal Pradesh is also, though our area they have declared under their maps. China, it's like a dragon basically. China, it has five head is at China. They have different fingers basically. It is called octopus. Octopus head will be in China. Their all the hands will be moving. Palm is in China. Five fingers will be moving across world. They claim that this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. This is the thing. Strategic rivalry in Indo-Pacific. Indo-Pacific, there are many things are there. We formed even quad grouping. Quad grouping now becoming less relevant because of divergence in the relations between India and many other countries. Competing regional influences in South Asia, cyber connectivity, espionage concern is there. China's support for Pakistan always, Belt and Road Initiative, China Pakistan economic corridor that violates our sovereignty, integrity, and unity of the country. India described China is a land border concern. There are like huge issue with the China. Basically, recently, this article is basically about Supreme Court gave judgment. In that judgment, they told that under SC community, subcategorization is not possible. It was earlier decision. Recently, they gave one more decision. Subcategorization is possible. Why? Because certain communities within the SC, they will not be gaining the benefits by identifying those communities will definitely help them and then bring them out of poverty and then bring them out of a vulnerable and downtrodden section to uplift above. There is also debate that see, this subcategorization should not discriminate the people. There is already wealthy people within the SC community, the community, those who have good education, those who have obtained reservation, and those who are in employment for few years. So they got all these things. Let's see what is going to happen. So now we are going to discuss constitutional amendments. Constitutional amendment is basically we are making changes in the constitution. Constitution amendment once become it is being approved by Lok Sabha and then Rajya Sabha, lower house of the parliament. There are certain majorities are there. Simple majority means more than 50% of the member. Now 543 members are there. More than 50% of this member should present and above. Article 368 constitutional amendment fall out of the simple majority. So certain areas like formation of the new states and alteration of areas, boundaries, names of the existing states, abolition and creation of legislative council of the states, etc. will come under this simple majority. When it comes to special majority, there are two things: 50% of the total member of the house and majority of the two-third of the member of the house present and voting. Suppose say on that day not 543 is present, some 400 is present, so they should all vote. So that is how. So what are all the things that comes under special majority? Fundamental rights, directive principle of state policy, and any other provisions that is not covered under simple majority and even special majority with parliament and ratification of half of the state legislatures. So the third thing is a special majority and parliament and half of the state legislature. So these two things need to be fundamental. Federal futures, federal futures will be amended by this majority. Few example can be election of the president and its manner, executive power in the union and the states, provision related to Supreme Court and High Court. These are all the very heavy things because consultation of the states are needed because this is a federal thing. Federal means central and the states all need to take decisions. So central government cannot alone take any decision in the parliament itself. That's why half of the state legislature So notable amendments are First Amendment. It came to certain to remove certain political difficulties created by court in addition to several cases such as Kameshwar Singh case, Ramesh Thopar Singh case. Issues involved in the case that included freedom of speech, acquisition of Jamindari land, state monopoly trade. So what are all the amendment in first constitutional amendment? Empowerment of the state to make special provisions in advancement of socially economically backward classes, even provided saving law for acquisition of estates. Ninth schedule to protect the law, land reforms and other laws included in the judicial review. Article 31, 31A, 30B, these three were inserted. 31A plus 31B, A, B. These three articles were inserted. Three more grounds for restriction of freedom of speech and expression, public order, friendly relation with foreign states, and incitement of offense. These three grounds are added in the freedom of speech. Also, restrictions are made for reasonable, thus justifiable in nature. State trading and nationalization of any trade or business by state is not invalid on the grounds of violation of right to trade and business. They talked about right to trade and business and all. Then came fourth constitutional amendment in 1955. It made compensation for compulsory acquisition of private property beyond scrutiny of the courts. Authority of the states to nationalize any trade even included some more acts in the ninth schedule. Ninth schedule, they are at 31A, 31AB. There was even property right also, fundamental right. So later it was abolished. So these things were discussed. Seventh Amendment Act came in 1956 to implement a recommendation of the State Reorganization Committee. In 1956, we know because of the Potti Sriramulu, new state has been formed in Andhra Pradesh, and to implement those recommendations, the seventh constitutional amendment came under State Reorganization Act 1956. Second and seventh schedule were amended. What is seventh schedule? List of the subjects, central list, state list, and then concurrent list. So second schedule is about members of the Rajya Sabha and all these things. It abolished existing classification of the states into earlier there were four categories of the states. Now they organize states into 14 states and 6 union territories. Extended jurisdiction of High Court to union territories also. Establishment of common High Court for two or more states. Even provided appointment of additional acting judges for the High Courts. Ninth constitutional amendment. There was an agreement signed between India Pakistan by Nehru and Noon to divide the territory of Berubari Union. The government of West Bengal first initially opposed it. Then Union referred it matter to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court told that power of Parliament to diminish any area in the state under Article 3. It comes under Article 3 to increase any area or decrease the area does not cover cession of the Indian territory to foreign hands. Like increasing, decreasing, it won't give to foreign thing, foreign entity. Indian territory can be ceded to foreign state only by amending constitution under Article 368. Subsequently, ninth constitutional amendment was enacted. There was a Berubari Union. Strong issue was happening between India and Pakistan at Bangladesh border areas. So it was signed, and then ultimately court gave historical judgment under this Berubari Union case. Berubari is near to West Bengal, and so it came under like Indo-Pakistan Agreement 1958. Even 10th Constitutional Amendment, it incorporated Dadra, Nagar, and Haveli in Union Territory. Subsequently, they have acquired from Portugal, right? Even Goa also is acquired from Portugal. 11th Constitutional Amendment changed the procedure for election of the Vice President by providing electoral college instead of joint meeting of the two houses of the parliament. Earlier, two-house parliament meeting was enough, but now electoral college is provided. Election of the president or vice president cannot be challenged on the grounds of any vacancy in the appropriate electoral college. It cannot be challenged, so they also inserted this thing. 12th Amendment Act, see, we have discussed already. 13th Amendment Act 1962 gave the status of Nagaland and made a special provision for it. 14th Constitutional Amendment incorporated Puducherry in Indian Union. Puducherry was a French territory, so it was incorporated. Creation of a legislature and council of ministers for three union territories of Himachal Pradesh, Manipur, Tripura, Goa, Daman Diu, and Puducherry. Even 17th Amendment Act in 1964 Acquisition of land was prohibited under certain personal cultivation unless market value of land is paid as a compensation. Included 40 more acts in the ninth schedule. So ninth schedule we already discussed, 31. There was initial huge controversy about land acquisition and all. So that was the reason. 18th Amendment Act in 1966. It clear, it made clear that power of the parliament to form new state is also includes the power to form new state or union territory by uniting part of the state to or giving any union territory part of the state to any union territory. It created two states under our 18th Constitutional Amendment in 1966, Punjab and Haryana. Basically, in 1956, what happened after formation of Andhra Pradesh? So all states intensified, and then linguistic basis, states have been identified, and then different states have been formed. 21st Amendment it came and it included 15th language as in the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution, that is Sindhi. In 1971, 24th Amendment came. Golaknath case Supreme Court gave, it told that Parliament does not have power to take any fundamental rights through amendment of the Constitution. It also court also affirmed that Parliament to amend any part of the Constitution, including fundamental rights, by amending Article 13 and 368. These are very important articles. We'll discuss on article session one day. Anyhow, these are very important articles. It made compulsory for the president to give his assent in the constitutional amendment bill whenever his cab is passed. A constitutional amendment bill, president should give his assent. In 25th Amendment Act, even fundamental right to property. So after so many years, the fundamental right to property has been abolished. And it provided law to give DPSP, Directive Principle of State Policy, in Article 39 BC for violation of the rights guaranteed under Article 14, 19, and 31. Article 19, 14 is right to equality, freedom of speech, and it is about right to property related article. Even 26th Amendment in 1971 abolished the privy purses. They used to give certain amount to rajas, Raja families in olden days. This was abolished. Privy purses in 1971. Privileges to former rulers of these princely states. In 31st Amendment in 1973, increase in the population of India is revealed in 1971. The number of seats from increased from 525 to 543, 545. Later, now present is 543. Why two seats are reduced? These two seats were actually Anglo-Indians. So later it was abolished. Anglo-Indian seats are not required like that. And in 33rd Amendment Act, Article 101 and 190 provided for resignation of the members of the Parliament and state legislature may be accepted by Speaker and Chairman only if he is satisfied that resignation is voluntary and genuine. So this is 33rd Amendment. Even 35th Amendment terminated protectorate setup of Sikkim and conferred the status of association into Indian Union. Sikkim came and in 37th Constitutional Amendment in 1974, Sikkim became part of India. In 10th schedule was added, laying down terms for Sikkim with Indian Union. In the 10th schedule, 36th Amendment Act basically made Sikkim in 1975 made Sikkim full-fledged state in Indian Union and omitted this 10th schedule. 10th schedule now it is there. What is 10th schedule? It is about anti-defection law, ADL. So it was omitted. 1975, Sikkim is included as a state. 38th Amendment, it came in again 1975. 1975, one issue was happening in India. Actually, it was a national emergency period during Indira Gandhi regime. So a lot of issues were happening. Declaration of emergency was declared by President, non-justiciable. Made promulgation of ordinance by President, governors, and administration of union territories are non-justiciable. That means it cannot be taken into the court. Empowered president to declare a different proclamation of national emergency on different grounds simultaneously. Basically, constitution was killed during this period. Even in like it was very terrorism during that time. A lot of misgivings was happening. Indira Gandhi was also after ruling for some time, there was a lot of distress was happening in the people, and she declared a national emergency. In 39th Amendment Act in 1935, it came in response to Allahabad High Court declared that election of PM Indira Gandhi in Lok Sabha void on petition of Raj Narain. Like Raj Narain filed a petition, and then Indira Gandhi's election was declared void, and then Again, in that response, they gave 39th Amendment Act. Dispute relating to president, vice president, prime minister, and speaker beyond the scope of judiciary. So everything kept out of judiciary. Judiciary, it is like, what is the three pillars of democracy? Legislature plus executive plus judiciary. And media is told to be fourth pillar. So this judiciary is kept out of everything. So they just sealed from judiciary. Certain central acts in the ninth schedule also they have included. It was, this is the very act, the important act, 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. It came under 1976. It added three words to preamble: socialist, secular, and integrity. What is the preamble of India? We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So these words, like these, they have each, every word has some meaning. They added fundamental duties as a part A, part 4A. What is part 4? DPSP, Directive Principle of State Policy. President bound by advice of the cabinet. Now also President is bound to advise by the Council of Ministers and Prime Minister. Administrative tribunals and tribunals for other members, it is added as a 14th part, 14th A. Seats in the Lok Sabha were froze and state legislative assembly on the basis of 1971 census till 2001 population control measure. Even 2001 also, this 1971 only taken. So 523 to they have extended 545 seats, and still we are continuing the same policy. In 2026 delimitation act may come. So like central government at that time action may be taken. Even our census is pending for 2021, so soon census may begin. So let's see. Constitutional amendment made beyond judicial scrutiny, that means cannot be questioned in the court. Power of judicial review is curtailed, and writ jurisdiction of the Supreme Court and High Court is also cut down. Tenure of the Lok Sabha and the State Legislative Assembly raised from 5 years to 6 years. Basically, we are finding 5 years, and then they made it to 6 years. Three laws made for implementation of directive policies cannot be declared invalid by courts on the ground of violation of some fundamental rights. There were some laws, like that laws made under this DPSP cannot be declared void. Suppose if they violate the fundamental rights. Empowered Parliament to make laws to deal with anti-national activities. Such laws are taken over fundamental rights. So basically, it is like terrorism. It added three directive principles: equal justice, free legal aid. Free legal aid, you can see NALSA, National Legal Service Authority is there. Participation of workers in the management of industries, protection of environment, forest and wildlife. This is a good thing. Proclamation of national emergency in part of territory of India. Extended one time duration of president rule in state 6 months to 1 year. 6 months to 1 year included. Empowered state to deploy its armed force in any state to deal with the grave situation of law and order. Shifted five subjects from state list to concurrent list: education, forest, protection of wild animals and birds, weights and measures, and administration of justice, constitutional organization of all courts except Supreme Court and High Court. All these things shifted to concurrent list. Requirement of quorum in the parliament and state legislature. See, to support something, at least some people will be needed. Now at least 10% of the members will be needed to support any measures. So they did away with this quorum. Empowered parliament to decide time to time rights and privileges of the members and committee. This is like right time to time. So they will say many. This was like very vague clauses. All India Judicial Services they provided, and even a procedure for disciplinary action taken by right of the civil servant to make representation at the second stage after inquiry, penalty proposed. Even like civil servants also it's made. The 43rd Amendment came. Now what 47 amendment it did, 1977 government changes. Now what, like whatever they have included in 42nd they brought back all related to court, Supreme Court, High Court, judicial review, writs and all these things, they brought them back. Deprived parliament of its special power to make law with respect to anti-national activities. So this is the main thing. 44th Amendment Act, this is very important. So, the term initially 6 years, now brought back to 5 years. With regard to quorum of the parliament, they have restored again some 10% of the minimum people should be there to run the parliament and all. British House of Commons, such parliamentary privileges they also omitted. Constitutional protection was given for publication of newspapers. There was a gag in the newspaper. Newspaper were not ready to publish their information. Indian Express, there were several newspapers were there, so they faced a lot of issues during that time. right? So again, they brought them back. They gave freedom and freedom of rights to freedom of speech expression to these newspapers. President was empowered to send back once advice of the cabinet minister for consideration. And after the advice, it is still binding on the president. They made this thing and restored some provisions of the Supreme Court and High Court. Satisfaction of the president, governor, and administrative final in issuing the ordinance. This clause was deleted. There were, like replaced the term internal disturbance by armed rebellion in case of the national emergency. Article 352, 356, 360. Article 352 deals about the national emergency. This is about the president rule. This is about financial emergency. 352 was declared once. 352 several times declared under the states under president rule because of failure in the constitutional machinery. There are several things. Certain procedural safeguards with respect to national emergency and the president rules were made. Right to property from list of fundamental rights made it only a legal right. Right to property. Even provided fundamental rights guaranteed by Article 21 cannot be dispensed during the national emergency. So, because of national emergency, you cannot lift this Article 20 and 21. Even they removed provisions, that took away the powers of the court in deciding election disputes of the president, vice president, prime minister, and then speaker of the Lok Sabha. 50th Amendment 1984 empowered the parliament to restrict the fundamental rights of person employed in intelligence organization, telecommunication system, and set up for the Armed Forces Intelligence Organization. 52nd Amendment Act, IRM, GARM, this is the 10th schedule we were talking about. That Sikkim, 1975, Sikkim became first state. And after that, in 1985, IRM, GARM, this is the one culture. Whenever the ruling party wins from one political party to another political party, they jump basically to gain some minister post or something like that. So they brought this 10th schedule anti-defection law. So now it is working well, but there are still limitations are there. 58th Amendment Act, authoritarian text of the Constitution in Hindi language and gave legal sanctity of Hindi version to the Constitution. 61st Amendment Act reduced the voting age from 21 years to 18 years. See, 1989 they opened their eyes. Lok Sabha for Parliament and state legislature. 65th Amendment Act provided establishment of multi-member National Commission for Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribes in space of a special officer for this, Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes. 69th Amendment Act, basically this is very important. Even UPSC also asked several time question. It provided a Union Territory of Delhi special status, National Capital Territory, NCR Delhi will call, National Capital Region Delhi. 70-member Legislative Assembly and 7-member Legislative Council for Delhi also provided under the 69th Constitutional Amendment Act. 71st Amendment Act 1992 included several other languages. Earlier 15th languages were there, Sindhi. Now Konkani, Manipuri, Nepali added in the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution, now increased to 18 total languages. 1992 is very important, granted Panchayati Raj system, added part 9 to the constitution as a panchayats, and 11th schedule containing 29 functional items in the panchayats. In even 73rd and 74th, it is related to urban local bodies, basically municipalities. It added part 9a in the constitution as municipalities under new schedule, 12th schedule, and even 18 functional items were added to municipalities. Today municipalities functioning well or not, we don't know, but these provisions are very important actually. So however, largely diluted. 77th Amendment, so basically it provided promotion of government job for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. 80th Amendment Act, alternate scheme of devolution. The revenue between the center and state, basically, it was distributed that 29% of the revenue should be distributed among the state. Now, as per 15th Finance Commission, how much? 42% of the revenue should be distributed. So, see, there is a very less variation. Only 13% increment is there. Almost 29 states are there, so very less fund between the states. So let's see, 16th Finance Commission has been formed. How it diverges, like the fund devolution, the federalism to continue further, funds are very much required because GST came and this income tax act also they need to restructuring budget. They told in IT Act, Income Tax Act 1961, they want to re-revise and simplify the things. Let's see what government is going to do. 81st Amendment Act empowered the state to consider unfilled reserved vacancy of the year as a separate class of vacancy in filled as in succeeding years. So suppose say now this year 100 vacancies are there, only 50 filled. Next year, rest of the 50 will carry and additional 100 will. So there will be 150 reservations will be there. So this 50% reservation, total reservation became to 50% and ceiling was also imposed. Now today, how much reservation is there? Almost 55% is there. 55 to 60%, I guess. 82nd Constitutional Amendment Act provided making any provision for in favor of SCs and STs. 82nd and 84th Amendment Act extended ban on readjustment of the seats in Lok Sabha and state legislature for another 25 years. That is now up to 2026. Now there is a talks that 2026 delimitation will happen, and after that in the same year population census may happen. By 2027, by based on population delimitation happens, and then the number of seats in the assembly will be like parliament and state legislative assembly will be changing. 85th Amendment Act provided a consequential seniority in case of promotion by virtue of reservation for government servant belonging to scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, irrespective of from the June with respective from June 1995. This this readjustment, basically readjustment seat was based on population figure in 1991. Basically 86th Amendment Act, it included article 21, fundamental education, right to education, it was included. Even change subject under article 45 and directive principle of state policy, even it included article 51, new article under fundamental duty. 86th Amendment Act, this one. 87 readjustment and nationalization of territorial constituency in the state on the basis of the population figures 2001 census, not on 1991 census provided by 84th Constitutional Amendment Act. In the states, basically state assembly, this is about 87th. In central it was about 84th. 89th, 89th, it is about National Commission for Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes became constitutional bodies. So Article 330 is about Scheduled Caste, and 338A is about Scheduled Tribes. 91st Amendment Act, this is very important. It limited the size of the Council of Ministers. It also debarred defractors, those who are holding the public offices, those who are doing double duty. They will have their own office and then they will also be member of these things. Means they debarred them, and then it strengthened anti-defection law. Total number of ministers in the parliament limited to 15%. It should not exceed that. Member in the either house of the parliament can belong to any other political party, but he should join any of the political party. Like even suppose say one nominated members should join any other political party within the 6 months. Independently elected candidate also choose any political party and should join them. Total number of ministers should be 15% of the total strength of the legislative assembly of the states, but the number of ministers including should not be less than 12. This is very important. Member of either house of the belonging to any political party can be disqualified on the ground of anti-defection law, and member of House Parliament or state legislature belonging to any political party, those who are disqualified under anti-defection law shall be disqualified to hold a remunerative political post. The expression remunerative political means what is that? Any office under central government or state government, whereas salary and remuneration for such office is paid. Any office under body. So these are all things, like they shouldn't be, once they are out of the thing, they should not hold these things. So they should not get any remuneration from these, like all the offices held by government. Then 92nd Constitutional Amendment Act came. It included 4 more languages. Earlier 18 languages were there. Bodo, Dogri, Maithili and Santali. Languages total became 22. In 93rd came in 2005. It empowered a state to make special provision for socially and educational backward classes, scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in educational institutions, including private educational institutions, except the minority education institution. Amendment was enacted to nullify Supreme Court judgment in Inamdar case in 2005. The court ruled that a state cannot impose a reservation policy on minority and non-minority unaided private colleges. So basically, the college is about reservation and all. 96th Amendment came in 2011. It changed Odia for Oriya, and subsequently Oriya language became 8th schedule shall be provided as Odia. 97th Constitutional Amendment, it gave constitutional status and protection of the cooperative societies. Cooperative societies became under, like, it made right to form cooperative society as a fundamental right under Article 19. It included direct principle of state policy for the promotion of the cooperative societies. Even cooperative societies are added in the Part 9B of the Constitution. What is Part 9B? Part 9 is about panchayats. Part 9A is about municipalities. 9B is about cooperative societies. 99th Constitutional Amendment, National Judicial Appointment Commission has been formed, and then it halved their judiciary. But however, subsequently in 2015, Supreme Court told that it is unconstitutional and void, and then it is nullified and then made inoperative again. This is 99th. 100th Constitutional Amendment Act. So certain territories in India given to Bangladesh, and certain territories in Bangladesh acquired by India under Land Border Agreement in 1974 and Protocol of 2011. For this purpose, Amendment Act was amended. Territories of 4 states: Assam, Bengal, Meghalaya, and Tripura, on the first schedule of the Constitution. 101th Constitution, GST has been included. Today, GST is flourishing like anything. However, there are certain issues are there. So slowly, GST, simplification will also happen. 102nd Amendment Act, constitutional status provided for National Commission of Backward Classes under National India's Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Article 338B is included in the Constitution after 338 and 338A for SC and ST, National Commission for Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes. 103rd Amendment Act, it included reservation for economically weaker sections. So Article 16 allowed 10% reservation for economically weaker sections in employment. 104th Amendment. So this, it removed the reservation for the seats of Anglo-Indian in Lok Sabha and State Legislative Assembly, and extended reservation for SC/ST up to 10 years. Basically, it amended Article 334, and through Article 334 was amended through this. Article 105th Amendment Act came in 2000. So this restored power of the state government and union territory to identify socially educational backward classes. So article amended were Article 342A, 366 and 338B. And Article 106 Constitutional Amendment Act came in 2023. It reserved one-third of all seats for women in Lok Sabha, State Legislative Assembly, and Legislative Assembly of National Committee of Delhi. This also be seats reserved for SC/ST in Lok Sabha and most state legislature. Based on census conducted by the Act, delimitation will be undertaken seats for women also. The reservation will be provided for a period of the 15 years from 2023 to 2038. Yeah, till 2038 there will be reservation, and after that again the parliament may discuss them. Seat reserved for women will be rotated after each delimitation as determined by the parliament. So there were certain articles limited. Article 338, 332 and 239 AA. This is related to Delhi. So there are certain constitutional, during these constitutional amendments, there were several cases that have been fought in the Supreme Court. One is Minerva Mills case in Union of India. This was especially 42nd constitutional amendment that came during Indira Gandhi's regime. And Supreme Court held a judicial review should be part of the basic structure. Basic structure means Supreme Parliament can revise and put new terms, but whatever in the basic structure, suppose the fundamental rights is a basic structure, Parliament has no right to change the basic structure. So it was a landmark judgment basically. Even Chandan Kumar versus Union of India, Supreme Court told that a tribunal under Article 323A, 323B are not substitute for a power of judicial review that the constitution bestowed to the high courts. So they are not the substitute, they told in Chandra Kumar versus the Union of India case. IR Kohelo versus State of Tamil Nadu, Supreme Court told that Parliament cannot increase amending power by amending the Article 368 and destroy the damage of the fundamentals of the constitution. Basically, it again told that this leads to violation of the basic structure of the constitution. So parliament should not touch the basic structure of the constitution in IR Coelho versus Tamil Nadu. Even 99th constitutional amendment, National Judicial Appointment Commission, what we discussed, it was deleted. In 2015, Supreme Court told it is unconstitutional, null and void. It was struck down basically. Amendment power is limited by basic structure. They should not touch. There are many lists in the basic structure, so we'll discuss later. Even 24th, in Kesavananda Bharati versus Union of India case also, again, Supreme Court upheld the same decision. You cannot touch the basic structure. Thus, see, amendment whatever carried under Article 368 are valid as long as they do not violate the basic structure of the Constitution. Supreme Court also told that Article 368 is also part of the basic structure. So now Article 368 also cannot be revised. So that's it for today. Thank you. Thank you very much for the discussion. This is a very lengthy discussion, but anyhow, thank you. Thank you very much for discussion.